Welcome to Father and Son Movie Reviews, and today we'll be reviewing Roxanne.
Roxanne. All right. So, this is a movie that was based on a very famous play. In fact, it's my favorite play of all time, Cyrano de Bergerac. All right. So, what? Oh, we got to tell them. We have to tell them ahead of time.
Spoilers alert! If you have not watched the movie, go ask your parents if you can watch it. It is a PG.
It's PG. Mm-hmm.
It has some bad words, so make sure it's okay with your parents first.
Right.
Hand.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get down to it. All right. So, tell us what Roxanne is about.
It's about this fire chief who has a really long nose. He's basically like a Pinocchio.
How long?
Like, let's say we get like a thing of tape and put on my nose. That's how long his nose is.
Yeah. It was a pretty long nose. So what was his deal? He had a big nose, and what was going on in the movie?
He liked a person, but they liked a different person.
Okay, can you talk a little bit more, be more specific?
Who
did he like?
He liked Roxanne.
Roxanne. Who was she?
She was a I don't remember what her job was, but she was studying space.
Astronomy.
Mm-hmm. Astronomy.
Right. So I think she was actually a student and she was studying astronomy. And why was she in that town? Do you remember?
For astronomy to do research on a comet.
So she was there to do research on a comet. How did she meet? What was the guy's name with the big nose?
His name was Charlie.
Charlie also went by CD,
AKA,
which stands for Cyrano de Bergerac. But that's not what his name in the movie. So then, how did they meet?
They met by she was trying to get her cat, and her door was shut, and she had to take off her robe, and she was butt naked. So she went to the fire department, and he's like, "Come in," and the CD's just like, "Come in." She's like, "I have no clothes."
So he had to let her back into the house.
By doing a bunch of parkour.
Yeah, he did a bunch of parkour.
He's like
So then, what ended up happening? So you said that she liked another guy?
Yeah, she liked Chris.
Who was Chris?
Chris was a pro firefighter, and he joined their town's firefighter because all their town's firefighter people are just brainless. There was one scene where literally one guy lit his pants on fire. There's another scene where there's a guy holding up a whole hose, and there's a guy flying in the air on the hose.
Yeah, well, they were volunteer firefighters, so they weren't professionals. So Chris came in to be a professional, along with Charlie, aka CD. All right, so then what happened with the three of them?
He
liked. CD liked Roxanne. Roxanne liked Chris. So what did
Chris
they do?
also liked Roxanne.
Okay. Well, what was his deal though?
Chris?
Yeah.
He couldn't talk to her. He was always like, after a while, he just had that feeling, and then he just ran off. One time he ran off into the alleyway like this, like.
Yeah, he threw up. So Chris wasn't good with words. What about CD?
CD was good with words.
So then what'd they do?
They did, since he was also not good at writing either, CD wrote letters to Roxanne, except acting like it was Chris.
Right. So he got a chance to tell Roxanne how he felt about her, because he felt that she didn't like him because of what?
His nose.
His big nose. That's right. So,
at one scene, he was just like, "Doctor, give me the knife and cut off my nose."
Yeah, he wanted to get a nose job, but do you remember what he said as far as why he couldn't?
It's because he was born with that. The one doctor said that he thought he was born with that nose for a reason.
Right. So
that was going to be one of my questions. Is like,
okay, we'll
how
get to the
did he
questions.
get the long nose?
Right. We'll get to the
It was
questions.
originally, but when we first started the movie,
right. Okay. Well, we'll get to the questions in just a minute. So then, what ended up happening as a result of him writing the letters on behalf of Chris?
That Roxanne still thought it was Chris.
So she fell in love with Chris, even though it wasn't really Chris that she was falling in love with. It was CD. All right. So then, what ended up happening with the whole situation?
So one night at a bar Chris was at, he met a different woman, and in one letter, he wrote, "Look on the back," and he said, "P.S. CD wrote these."
No, that was Dixie did that. Dixie wrote that because she blew up his whole plan. So what ended up happening at the end?
In the end, Roxanne and CD fell in love, and
Right.
Chris left them to be a dealer in
Tahoe.
But in the movie, I find that odd because the bartender said you could be a dealer in Vegas,
Right, but
not Tahoe.
Vegas is like the most known gambling city, but Tahoe has gambling too. So she was moving there, so he moved with her. Okay, so let's get to your questions. What questions do you have about the movie?
So first of all, why is CD randomly dancing?
Why is he randomly dancing? Because he's a happy guy. They had to establish that he was a guy who was fun and entertaining, and he's somebody who was happy a lot. Even though he had the big nose, he was happy a lot, so he was dancing around, walking around town.
And also, how does he make stuff in 2 seconds?
What do you mean?
When he's in Roxanne's house, he made all that stuff in literally 2 seconds.
The food, you mean?
Yeah, the food. He made that in literally 2 seconds. Flat.
I think he said he knew the house because Dixie owned it and he had been in it before. So when she was getting dressed, remember she was naked when she came in the house.
Wait,
So
who is Dixie again?
Dixie was the woman who owned she had the short hair. She owned the cafe. She was CD's friend.
Oh, yeah.
So she owned that house. She was renting it to Roxanne. So then he said he's been in it before. So while she was getting dressed, he made that food. So she probably didn't take her 2 seconds to get dressed. Probably took her maybe like a minute or two. And all he did was just take some cheese and fruit out and just cut it up.
Yeah. And my last question is, how is Chris suddenly able to talk to Roxanne, even though he was throwing up when he wanted to talk to Roxanne?
Which part?
When, remember when they were at that doorstep, Chris suddenly
He had the earpiece.
Talked up. Well, listen. Like, after that, one CD said all the things that Chris felt about Roxanne.
He wasn't talking to her very well, though.
Yeah.
CD had to do the talking. All right, so let's...
And then, all of a sudden, now when he's inside, he's able to talk to her. Like, I find that kind of odd.
I mean, he was able to talk to her a little bit, but not very well. Not like CD was. All right, so let's start our other stuff here. So, what age appropriate age, or what age do you think this is?
Probably maybe 10, 11.
10, 11. Why 10, 11?
Because there's some bad words.
There's some bad words in it, for sure.
Inappropriate jokes.
Okay. There's some inappropriate jokes.
Bad word head.
Yes.
There's also that one thing we don't need to mention.
Right, okay. So, 10 or 11, okay. Now, what do you rate this movie out of 10?
I rate it a 5.
A 5, okay.
Uh-huh.
I remember seeing this movie when it came out. I didn't see it in the theater, but I saw it, on VHS. I think it still holds up. It's one of those, kind of cheesier 80s movies that came out all the time. But I thought it was a very underrated movie, so I'm gonna give it a 7.
7?
So 5 and 7. What's that?
So that equals 13.
12.
12.
Okay.
One number off.
So let's bring this all to a close.
I hope you all have a merry First Order Day, or happy First Order Day.
All right. And like and share.
Like, subscribe, share it to all your friends and family, and tell them, please subscribe.
Tell your enemies too.
And tell your enemies, tell your trash can, tell your dogs, tell your cats. Say it to everything! I say, say it to everything!